2024 turned out to be one of my favorite years for music in recent memory and my favorite of the 2020s so far. I figured since, hey, I really liked or else loved so many albums this year, and I also reviewed so few, let's do a top 40 favorite albums of 2024. Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John. It's time for my top 40 albums of 2024. No big intro or anything like that. I know you've been waiting. Please excuse my tardiness and pretend this dropped in December. See that picture in my mind. Focus on the lens of time. Flight B741 is a non-stop thrill ride of psychedelic bluesy riffing and mind-bending time signatures, taking off like a frantic broadcast from the Gizzard multiverse as they continue redefining what it means to be a band, but also maintaining their wildly exhilarating streak.
Then patterns in repeat can begin.
With her haunting, unwavering voice weaving through halls of intricate acoustics, Laura Marling crafted Patterns, an album that plays like a patchwork quilt of introspection and emotional catharsis, where each spoken mantra carries new weight as the subtle mysteries reward the repeat listener. I will hear, unearth the secrets I've been hiding. I know I'm just as shocked as you because this is still so new and apparently some longtime Opeth fans don't even care for this one, but Opeth's latest album is a sprawling epic that bridges the gap between their death metal roots and the cinematic, proggy experimentation of their modern music, creating a symphonic allegory for the rise and fall of civilization, bolstered by the palpable sense of guitar grandeur and the domineering drumming.
Nigga keep dance, catalog really extends. Big V's one of my feet, no cheese one on my seat. Blue lips really on speech.
Schoolboy Q delivered a refreshingly personal but universally resonant album, Blue Lips, that effortlessly skywalks between introspection and swagger, with murky, hypnotic beats, fun features, and razor-sharp verses from Q soundtracking the modern-day hip-hop mastermind's comeback LP. The way you move, it moves me, when no place left to go. By blending their signature tongue-in-cheek lyrics with a shout-along punk spirit, Alkaline Trio were able to serve up their most exciting collection of tracks in over a decade by dancing the line between heartbreak and horror, almost like they were able to bottle up that essence of late-night spiraling, but then drenching it in their signature dark but sunny chords and melodies. And on the 7th album, St. Vincent reached into the abyss and pulled out something undeniably visceral, a world where cutting lyrics and intoxicating soundscapes capture Annie's raw panic in a world that constantly threatens to swallow us all whole, only for her to scream right back at it, even if it is just into the void. Poppy's Negative Spaces album is her most cohesive vision yet, threading together a familiar but genre-defying sound with elements of pop, metal, and electronica storming the castle, working together into an album that's uniquely dissonant yet very melodic, as if it's the soundtrack to some sort of Technicolor apocalypse. Only One Mode channels pure adrenaline through blistering hardcore riffs and unrelenting ferocity in under 30 minutes, mind you, capturing the energy of a Livewire punk show while making it impossible to ignore Speed's ability to destroy every barrier in sight with unapologetic fury. Declan McKenna crafted a vibrant call to arms album that makes the listener question their own relationship with nature and nostalgia and maybe the world at large, hiding his thorny societal commentary into a blend of shimmering indie pop, except it has some classic rock overtones informing these great guitars and the darkly satisfying melodies throughout. Leave it to the post-rock gods and Foxing to reinvent yet again. And credit to the band, their self-titled album is not an easy listen. But the agony of existence is made whole through waves of post-rock and dashes of emo, with even the seemingly random brushstrokes delivering in full stride like a seasoned runner. Introducing Smush and their debut album, If You Were Here, I'd Be Home Now, a must-hear for any fan of that shoegazy grunge 90s sound. I was honestly hooked after hearing the dynamic singles If We Didn't Cry and Lizzie McGuire, with those songs containing overt themes of loss and longing, wrapping it all in this cathartic, fuzzy, lo-fi instrumentation with hushed vocals, creating a guitar-first atmosphere that kind of feels like flipping through somebody's old photo album, except you've never met the person and it disintegrates into your ears. Charli xcx turned their surrealism all the way up with Brat, this sweaty, hyper-pop comet built on chaos, biting self-awareness, and throbbing club beats, allowing every hit and every lyric to kind of feel like a middle finger, like choosing not to comply in favor of existing as yourself unapologetically.
Would you stop the sirens call? Can you help me stop the screams? I am calling out today. Are you calling out for me?
Sprints conquered the hype on Letter to Self, a splintering self-examination that's dripping with anger and bursting with life at the same time, cutting wide open like a geode, as their vocalist roars through the track listing with dramatic post-punk riffs in tow, a perfect match for Sprints' fully stacked rhythm section that just further illuminates the Irish group's excellent debut album.
Of London, being the queen, and you were in my head, saying you should not be doing that.
Punkers Amyl the Sniffers returned with an electrifying jolt of madness on Cartoon Darkness, as the Australian rockers balance punk intensity with cantankerous humor and introspective observations, blending and painting a collage that kinda gets blurry as modern life circles the drain.
All you children gather round, we will dance together.
Only took him an entire decade, more like I waited all century, but Jamie XX crafted a stunning, immersive night out in the Upside Down within Waves, a place where pulsating club beats and glowing textures collide in such perfect symmetry, it's almost a little bit uncanny, if not super fun. Night Versus dove headfirst into the void on what I think could be their magnum opus. Every sound has a color in the Valley of Night. All three of these guys are jaw-droppingly good at their instruments, with insane technical wizardry speaking louder than words ever could, while the slow-burning atmospheric pressure erupts like sunspots, tearing through the core boundaries of post-rock and prog metal in the most triumphant way. Having not been a fan up to this point, I wasn't supposed to like this one. You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To is a jarring, all-out assault on the senses, fracturing faces with devastating beatdowns, searing vocals, and an understanding of what makes their blend of metal and hardcore so brutal but so special, devouring sadness with an unrelenting pace that leaves you gasping for air while begging for more.
We'll make it baddies out of paper, better find us.
Remi Wolf's hypnotizing blend of funk, pop, and infectious indie rock is undeniable on Big Ideas, an album so packed with personality, every track feels like a personal invitation to really get weird with it, whether that to you means frog rock or Cinderella. Ben Stiller channels the grit and glamour of New York City for a spaced-out indie grunge daydream, capturing the cold, restless energy of disintegrating slowly with reverb-soaked guitars, pounding drums, and lyrics that play out like love letters to life's endless turbulence.
I should have loved you better. Do you think that now's the time you should let go?
21 Pilots retraced their steps for a major dub on Clancy, and I couldn't be happier with the result for the most part, that being a strong bond between the duo on full display, with their alternative-laced sound weaving through this range of lavish instrumentation, and not to sound too obvious, but you know, introspective emotional writing, singing, and rapping, fueling the concept album without making it feel like a chore to tap into.
Pardon my sense of making it easy on myself.
Devastatingly underrated emo band Gleemer reappeared with maybe their best album. I know that might be contentious, but End of the Nail is driven with a dream pop meets Midwest indie inertia that sees them exploring new evolutions of their hazy sound, bolstered by immersive vocals, searing guitars, and a lingering sense of jaded dread.
Triple checking if I lock the door. I know every creep that's in the floor. Motherfucker, I'm paranoid. I move around the block.
Tyler, the Creator, dove head first into a maze of soundscapes and unfiltered writing on Chromakopia, a shoot-from-the-heart passion project on steroids that ignores limits of genre with all-encompassing production, including brass sections, guitars, jazz, soul, a little bit of everything, and of course masterful performances from T, who lifts the blindfold to untangle the many colors of life's most complicated seasons.
Let yourself unfold. You hit me up.
Driven by some huge sweeping hooks and Poison Pen style lyrics, Sundiver is Boston Manor doubling down on their strengths while also introducing new ones, balancing their brand of nihilism with anthemic ambition that makes this record's 11 tracks fly by while still sinking their teeth in deep for more.
I could buy you so much stuff. It's a craving, not a crush.
Billie Eilish masterfully contrasts polar opposites on an album that feels like a whispered secret one moment and a primal scream the next, delivering a tight, robust collection of songs that flex her artistic evolution and her brother Phineas's insanely good production chops. Everything constructed an ivory tower of sound on Mountain Head, layering up sarcastic, experimental rock with electronic flourishes and an ongoing story, one that involves an entire population digging into the earth only to forget why they even started, making this a guitar and synth-heavy puzzle with infinite earworms and a lot of questions. We can can say Pearl Jam returned to form, but they returned to form and then some on Dark Matter. Not to say that everything's been awful for decades, but I really do think this is their best album since Avocado, as Dark Matter marks a late career renaissance by blending Eddie Vedder's explosive emotion with a mix of moody but guitar-heavy instrumentation that proves that they're not just looking back, but they're actively expanding on their legacy.
We take a tumble as our friends step out to talk.
Radiohead offshoot The Smile unveiled a hauntingly symmetrical but musically bewildering album that pits Tom York's ghostly voice against his bandmates, with Johnny Greenwood really going for that extra credit with the string arrangements and the guitar meltdowns, although I'd be wrong to say that it's not a three-man show, as everyone, including drummer Tom Skinner, make an indelible mark on Wall of Eyes.
Truly dreams never die.
Canadian pop artist Charli xcx pulled no punches in making Girl with No Face, as her latest album deep dives into themes of self-worth, with those lingering voices from the past echoing amongst the lush synth-pop atmosphere that fuels this record's unbeatable synergy.
The skies have got too deep, and no matter love
Bring Me the Horizon found a way to fuse their heaviest instincts with untamable electronic experimentation, resulting in a futuristic metalcore meets hyperpop epic that absolutely shattered boundaries and my personal expectations, as they kind of help usher in this new generation of genreless heavy music in an extremely satisfying manner.
Does it happen by chance? Is it all happenstance? Do we have any say in this mess?
With stunningly simple but emotionally liberating storytelling, Deeper Well became Casey Musgraves' anxiety killer, a quiet potion that treats introspection like a form of intimacy, as it should, allowing the country pop queen to dig straight into your soul, where seeds of hope are watered and grow up and have all kinds of beautiful things happen because I'm sappy. After years of unfortunate silence, Valence and Composure marked their long-awaited return to making albums on With You in Spirit, a severely overlooked and underrated record that feels like a shared emotional reckoning between band and listener. Valence walks this line beautifully, leaving space in between the soundscapes to give the album a real hard-on-the-sleeve feeling, punctuated by blazing guitars, existential angst, and an always reliable rhythm section that continues to drive with a lead foot on the pedal.
Take me on, turn me up, turn me on. I'm your friend, I'm your girl, I'm your little chaos.
Irish singer-songwriter Orla Gartland championed alternative pop in a major way on her masterful sophomore album, Everybody Needs a Hero. These 12 tracks are a joy to cycle through because of how much the artist cares about the little details. The production here is an intoxicating mix of alt-pop and indie folk, but it's the way Orla's voice dances across every song on the album that makes it unforgettable.
Wanna find everything I ever did for the set. When every nigga living for it, still living in debt. It's so ironic, so iconically platonic, but sex is what she wanted.
Vince Staples lurks in the shadows with a sense of purpose on Dark Times, as the multi-talented rapper carved himself a lane that feels more like a film noir than a run-of-the-mill hip-hop record. Vince's storytelling is sharper than ever, painting listeners vivid portraits of survival, community, and the weight of carrying your past on your shoulders uphill. Yet for all of its heady, emotional moments of nihilism, there's an undercurrent of resilience silently inching its way to the driver's seat throughout Dark Times, as Vince once again moves the goalpost forward for his artistic ambition. The Last Dinner Party made their presence known with the audacious theatrical debut Prelude to Ecstasy that refuses to go down without a gladiator-style fight. My favorite debut album of 2024 felt unmistakable in the way that it fuses art rock, baroque pop, and a dash of glam into an intoxicating brew that feels like flying. Really, for all its messy, dramatic glory, the ecstasy, and the heartbreak, this is The Last Dinner Party becoming the band they were meant to be. Unafraid to swing for the fences and knocking it out of the park with a playful poise every single time.
Don't tell me how you miss me. I could die tonight of a broken heart. It's only this changing. We've been too far apart.
After keeping fans on hold for 16 years, I thought there was no way The Cure actually delivers another classic album, yet here I am at number 6, Songs of a Lost World. Robert Smith wrote us a haunting love letter to everything The Cure has ever been and what they're going to be even after they're gone. Allowing the album to drip with melancholic beauty as Robert's vampiric voice echoes through the fragile walls of life's most impactful moments. Lost World traverses vast atmospheric landscapes, as each track from Alone to War Song sparks with life in a way that almost deceives your mind into thinking no time at all has passed. Like The Cure are still this young, gothic post-punk band that are searching for something bigger than themselves.
Calling all saviors tonight, make us all believers tonight.
Green Day's future seemed uncertain after their last record, but Saviors kicked it back into 11th gear with Rob Cavallo behind the production board, making for their most urgent-sounding, life-affirming album since 21st Century Breakdown. Bar none, Billie Joe Armstrong's lyrics feel angrier, catchier, and more focused than they've been in a long time, railing against societal decay with the kind of sarcastic energy that's impossible to fake. Juggernaut bass work from Mike Dirnt almost steals the show, as do his impressive backing vocals, but it's that paired with Trey's slamming drum grooves and Billie Joe's sprinting guitars that round things out in a way that's straight up undeniable.
Work on the floor, let me know if you clocking it. Brody won't go, but I know that he popping it. It was wolf tickets on sale till I silenced it.
Kendrick Lamar, Man at the Garden or Man of the Year 2024, surprise dropped his album GNX in November, and I immediately knew it was headed straight for my top 10. What can I say? K-Dot the GOAT, no cap. The Compton MC comes through with a more melodic, collab-heavy approach akin to his album Damn, as he ushers in these cathartic, introspective verses backed by dazzling, genre-blurring production that reincarnates like a living, breathing centerpiece. We all know Kendrick doesn't shy away from uncomfortable truths. Isn't that right, Jimmy Brooks? And GNX once again cemented his place as one of the most important artists of the 21st century. Jack White stripped everything back to blues rock basics on No Name, surprise delivering an album that feels raw, passionate, and unrelentingly vicious. For all its rough edges, there's a vulnerability here that's kinda rare in Jack's discography. Gone are the layers of polish and experimentation that kinda plagued his sound after his album Blunderbuss in 2012. Returning is a batch of tracks that sound like they were recorded in a single feverish take, with Jack's guitar snarling and wailing like a rattlesnake attack. A title straight from a newspaper headline, Only God Was Above Us. Vampire Weekend's latest record ascended to celestial heights as their 5th album does feel as vast as the name would imply. The now trio got back in touch with their signature Baroque pop sensibilities, adding awe-inspiring orchestral arrangements and noisier experimental textures to create tracks like Capricorn and their longest to date, The Life-Affirming Hope. This is an album about finding connection, if you will. The threads that bind us to each other, to our ancestral histories, and to something greater than ourselves, as Ezra Koenig's lyrics remain sharp, poetic, and resonant, bolstered by the band's willingness to take risks while remaining a catchy force of nature. Only God Was Above Us isn't just a high point for Vampire Weekend. I actually believe this is their best album yet, a total masterpiece and a testament to what can happen when a band dares not just to dream big, but also to follow through. Magdalena Bay's Imaginal Disc is nothing short of a masterpiece, an album that surrounds you in pure heaven from a futuristic, perhaps mercurial world where pop is limitless in scope and creativity. Every track is a kaleidoscopic joywave, with the duo layering hyper-fixated production over melodies that are to die for, topped only by the broad range of prog pop instrumentation and Mika Tenenbaum's gorgeous voice and infectious energy. What sets Imaginal Disc apart even further? Matt and Mika's ability to reframe how we look at the past and the future, and I guess the present as well, with the passage of time within the album being insanely smart, with the Easter eggs being really everywhere as you dig through. Themes of memory, touch, transformation, and the blurring lines of reality craft a perfect narrative that invites the listener to leave their realm behind through a portal. It's for sure a dizzying out-of-body experience, but it's one you'll want to relive over and over and over, and that is why it stands as not just my favorite album of 2024, but one of my favorite albums of all time. That's a wrap on year-end season 2024 and my top 40 albums of this year. Thanks for being patient on this one. Do me a huge favor, drop a like and help me run this one up. Maybe subscribe to and share it out with a friend. All of my year-end content is on screen, so keep the marathon rolling with another best or worst list. You can see all of my honorable mentions in the description. Follow me on Instagram for more exclusive content, and I'll see you soon on YouTube on ARTV and beyond ARTV.